Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Ishavaishamidam Sarvam Jatkinja Jagatyam Jagat Tena Taktena Bunjitaha Magridaha Kashasviddanam Kurvani Vaha Karmani Jajiva Chekchatam Samaha Evam Tvayi Nanyatetosti na Karma Lipyate Nare Asurya Namate Loka Andena Tamasavritaha Tamste Pritya Bigachanti Yeke Chatmahano Janaha Anijadika Manaso Javiyo Nena Devam Apravam Purvama Satta Davato Nyanateti Tistat Tasmin Apumata Viswadadati Tadijati Tanejati Tadure Tadvantike Tadantarasya Sarvasya Tadu Sarvasya Bhayataha Yastu Sarvani Bhutani Atmani Evanupasyati Sarvabhute Sujatmanam Tato na Vijagupsate Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atmeva Budvijanataha Tatarko Mahakaha Sukha Ekatvam Anupasyataha Sa Prayagachukam Avrinam Asnaviram Sudamapapavidam Kavir Manisi Paribu Swayambu Yatatat Yutorutan Vyadadach Chasvadipyaha Samabhyaha Andam Tamaha Pravisanti Ye Vidyam Mupasyate Tato Bhuya Evate Tamo Yayu Vidyayam Rataha Anya Devahur Vidyaya Anya Dahura Vidyaya Iti Susruma Dhiranam Yena Stad Vichachakshire Vidyam Cha Yas Yastad Vedobayam Saha Avidyaya Miritum Tirtva Vidyayam Ritamasnute Andham Tamaha Pravisanti Ye Sambhutim Upasyate Tato Bhuyai Vate Tamo Yayu Sambhutam Rataha Anya Devahur Sambhavat Anya Dahura Sambhavat Iti Susruma Dhiranam Yena Stad Vichachakshire Sambhutim Cha Vinasam Cha Yastad Vedobayam Saha Vinasena Miritum Tirtva Sambhutam Ritam Astute Hiran Mayana Patrena Satyasya Pihitam Mukam Tatvam Pusam Apavrinu Satya Dharmaya Jistaye Pusaneka Seyama Surya Prajapatya Vyuharasmin Samohate Jo Yatte Rupam Kayanatamam Tabte Pasyami Yo Savaso Purushaha Sohamasmi Vayuranilam Amritam Atedam Basmantam Sariram Om Krato Smara Kritam Smara Krato Smara Kritam Smara Agne Naya Supataraye Swan Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Yodajma Juhurana Meno Bhuyaste Nama Utim Bhuyastate Nama Uktim Vedima Om Tat Sat Om Purnam Ada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Ishavaishamidam Sarvam Jatkinja Jagatyam Jagat Tena Taktena Munjitaha Magridaha Kashasviddanam Kurvani Vaha Karmani Jajiva Chekchatam Samaha Evam Tvayi Nanyate Tosti Nakarma Lipyate Nare Asurya Namate Loka Andena Tamasavritaha Tamste Pritya Bigachanti Yeke Chatmahano Janaha Anejadika Manaso Javiyo Nena Devam Apurvam Purvamasat Tadavato Nyanateti Tistat Tasmin Apumata Viswadadati Gaura Premanandi Haribo. So yesterday we finished mantra 4. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so do we have a list of the questions for our final test? Okay. And day before? What? Okay, how are you going to collect them?
I will watch the video. The video has all the questions.
Are you going to have it? And today is what? Thursday, right? What? No, I know. Today's Thursday, is that right? Yeah. So, if you're free, we can have a class tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Balloon has another class.
Oh, it has another class. Okay. All right. All right. That's all right.
Should we do Saturday?
Saturday, what time?
After the Kirtan, we expect to have a class.
How about in the morning?
Saturday morning and evening class.
What?
We have Saturday morning and evening class.
Uh-huh.
Saturday evening we have a family bonding dance.
So Saturday, we have family bonding.
Saturday evening 5, but that's 5 to
5 to
7.
7. So after 7 o'clock, we could have a class.
There is another class, 4 to 7.
Yes, we have another class.
What class? Okay. Okay, well, so I have a class Sunday, right?
Yes, folks, you have class.
Okay. All right, so next Monday. I want to see all the questions. And I want everyone to have a copy of them. Yeah. Okay, so let's read number 5. Yesterday, of course, we discussed a couple important points. All right, anyway, let's go to 5. Tadijati tanejati tadure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasya syabhayataha. Tad, this Supreme Lord, Ajati, walks, Tat, he, na, not, Ajati, walks, Tat, he, dure, far away, Tat, he, you, also, Antike, very near, Tat, he, anta, within, asya, of this, sarvasya, of all, tat, he, you, also, sarvasya, of all, asya, of this, vayataha, external to. The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but he is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything. So, how do you characterize these statements? They're mutually something.
Contradictory.
Huh? Mutually contradictory. So, it's if a person is a materialist and they read this, they say this is nonsense, right? So how can we believe it, though? Okay, don't raise your hand and answer this. Yes?
It's inconceivable potencies of the Lord that we cannot understand.
Yeah. The Lord has inconceivable potencies. Now, if you don't accept that the Lord has inconceivable potencies, what do you remain? Don't raise your hand to answer this. Yes? Yes. You remain an atheist. So everywhere you'll see that the Lord has inconceivable, mutually inconceivable potencies. Like this is explained also in the Brahma Samhita, where it says, so in Goloka there's inconceivable distinction and non-distinction between the rasas analogous to mundane combinedship and wifehood. It may be said with equal truth that there is no distinction in Goloka between the two, as also that there is such a distinction. So you're going to find this everywhere. This mutually contradictory statements about Krishna. That just indicates that he has inconceivable potencies. But it's very hard for materialistic people to accept that. Now, how do materialistic people approach these or think about these mutually contradictory potencies? There's a principle in Sanskrit. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, they think it's nonsense, but there's a special term that we use to understand the limited understanding of materialistic people. Okay, yes, ma'am. Atmavan manyate jagat, which means?
Understanding the law through the human limitations.
Right, trying to understand the Lord.
Projecting the human limitations.
Okay, did everyone understand that? Atmavan manyate jagat. One thinks about the Lord through one's own limited, let's say, conception of life. So if a person says, well, I can't be fixed in one place and everywhere at the same time. Therefore, this statement that the Lord is fixed in one place and simultaneously present everywhere is nonsense. Because he can't. Just like the blind man says, I don't believe the sun exists because I don't see it. Well, does that mean the sun doesn't exist because the blind man doesn't see it? No. You know, so the same thing, people say, well, I can't believe that such a thing, so therefore it's not true. But that's nonsense. Of course it's true, but you're a nonsense because you're limited and you're trying to approach the Lord in a limited way. So that principle is called Atmavan Manyate Jagat. So in the previous verse it said that although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is swifter than the mind and it can overcome all others running. So what is fixed in one place? Well, a tree is fixed in one place, right? So you couldn't say that the tree is fixed in one place, but yet it can run faster than anyone else. That wouldn't make sense, right? So obviously, Krishna is not like a tree because he's fixed in one place and yet he can run faster than anyone else. And then it says, he walks and he doesn't walk. So what does that mean exactly? We can understand he's fixed in one place, but yet he can run faster than anyone else. What does it mean when it says he walks and he doesn't walk? Okay, anybody? Want to try? Yes.
So Krishna can perform any activity with any of his senses.
Yes.
So for us to walk, we need legs.
Yes.
But Krishna can do that activity with any of other senses.
Well, yes.
So he can walk with his eyes or...
But his legs, does he have legs?
He has legs, but not like our material.
Okay, so can you explain that a little bit more? What is our leg made out of and what is his leg made out of?
Our legs are made of matter, earth, water, fire, ether.
Yeah.
Whereas Krishna's body is made of Satchidananda.
So, how did Vamana, who was a dwarf, how did he take two steps, and cover the whole universe? How did he do it? Yes. Yeah, but what did his inconceivable potencies do? They made his little legs stretch.
About 4 billion miles in diameter.
Yeah.
And he was able to pierce the membranes through which Mother Ganga was able to flow down to this world.
Right. So his leg is not like, we can't stretch our leg even 1 foot, right? Right. But he stretched it 4 billion miles. And that was only 2 steps. He had another step, he couldn't take it because he already covered the whole universe. So, well, that's an example of what's called Turiya, the 4th dimension. So how does the 4th dimension differ from the 3 dimensions? The 3 dimensions are what, first of all? Length, width, height, right. So, what does it mean, the fourth dimension? Huh? Yeah, that time is unlimited, length is unlimited, height is unlimited, width is unlimited. So therefore the Lord can stretch his foot unlimitedly. We can't do that, but he can. And Hanuman can lift a mountain. We can't even imagine such a thing. He can lift an entire mountain, as if it's like a little ball or something. So those are all examples of the fourth dimension, where things are no longer limited. They're unlimited, yes.
Does it also serve like the people who don't want to believe in a God, if they read it and they will have a point like, see, this is what wrong thing has been written here.
Yeah, it separates the men from the boys. Or it separates the devotees from the nonsense people. Nonsense people, this is, I'm not going to waste my time reading this. It's all fairy tales. And they walk away. They go back to the casino and the bar, But, yeah, exactly right. Okay, here is a description of some of the Supreme Lord's transcendental activities executed by his inconceivable potencies. There it is, right? The contradictions given here prove the inconceivable potencies of the Lord. So Sanskriti got it exactly right. Haribol. He walks and he does not walk. Ordinarily, so in other words, the mutually contradictory qualities only points to the fact that the Lord has inconceivable potencies. Ordinarily, if someone can walk, it is illogical to say he cannot walk. But in reference to God, such a contradiction simply serves to indicate his inconceivable power. With our limited fund of knowledge, we cannot accommodate such contradictions. What is that? Atmavan manyate jagat. We can't imagine that he can do it because we can't do it, right? And therefore we conceive of the Lord in terms of our limited powers of understanding. Atmavan manyate jagat. We conceive of the Lord in terms of our limited powers of understanding. For example, the impersonalist philosophers of the Mayavada school accept only the Lord's impersonal activities and reject his personal feature. But the members of the Bhagavata school, adopting the perfect conception of the Lord, which is achintya bheda abheda tattva, simultaneously and inconceivably one and different, right? Accept his inconceivable potencies and thus understand that he is both personal and impersonal. Now, there are impersonalists who, let's call them genuine impersonalists, and there are impersonalists called Mayavadis who we can say are disingenuous impersonalists. Who knows what the word disingenuous means? It's a good word to know in English. If you want to insult someone, you can use this word and they don't figure out that you insulted them. They go, huh? What did he say? Did he insult me or did he praise me or insult me? Disingenuous is a nice way of saying somebody is a liar. But if you don't want to say they're a liar, you say, well, I think he's being disingenuous. People are not sure whether you praised him or you insulted him. So, the disingenuous impersonalists are different than the genuine impersonalists. How do they differ? Yes, Sanskrit. Sanskriti knows all the answers tonight. That's good.
Believe that there is something beyond the Lord and there is nothing beyond the Brahmajyoti.
So which one believes there's nothing beyond the Brahmajyoti?
The Mayavadis.
Yeah, who are what? Genuine? Disingenuous. Disingenuous. Which means liar, not truthful. Okay? Okay, so you learned a new word today. You want to insult someone, you don't call him a liar. You say, I think you're being disingenuous. And he's, what did he say? Did he just call me a liar, or did he say I a good guy. They're not sure. There are a lot of words like that. You don't have to use the blunt words. You can use the words that mean exactly the same thing, but they're said in such a way that it's a classy way of calling someone a liar. Yeah, I'm sure they must have things like that in Hindi also. Yeah. Okay, so now we just understood the difference between a genuine impersonalist and a disingenuous impersonalist, called a Mayavadi, right? The Bhagavatas know that without inconceivable potencies, there can be no meaning to the words Supreme Lord. So he's both personal and impersonal. The Mayavadis say he's only impersonal. He's not personal. We should not take it for granted that because we cannot see God with our eyes, the Lord has no personal existence. Because there are many things we can't see with our eyes, but we believe they exist nowadays, like electromagnetic waves. We can't see them, but no one would deny that they exist. But 100 years ago, everyone would argue that they don't exist because they can't see them. Sri Isopanisad refutes this argument by declaring that the Lord is far away but very near also. So this is why people who simply read the Vedas without a bona fide Vaishnava guru end up confused. They read the Vedas, they get more confused than before they started reading it. Because they can't handle these mutually contradictory statements, so they think this is all nonsense. I'm going to read, some other book now. I'm going to read Harry Potter. That makes more sense than Bhagavad Gita. Yeah.
We should not take it for granted that because we cannot see God with our own eyes, the Lord has not personally existed. So, but Mayavadi people, impersonally people visit temples.
They what?
They go to temple.
Yeah.
Deities there.
Yeah.
So they are seeing actual Lord in different form there.
They don't accept it. They say, this is meant for sentimental people, not for us. We're above this. We know that this is not real.
But they visit
Like, for example, the Arya Samajis, do they have any deities in their temples? No. And they're Hindus. In fact, they're real Hindus. Right.
And the Shankaracharya followers?
They use the deities as a crutch. It's like this. Let's say I want to reach the second floor of a building and there are no steps going up. So I get a ladder. As soon as I get on the second floor with the ladder, I throw the ladder away. I don't need it anymore. So they use deities as a crutch because you need some sentimental, personal form to make a little advancement in a lower stage. And then when you come to the higher stage, you don't need it anymore. So it's like throwing away the ladder to help you get to the second floor. Yeah, it's just a means to an end. The end is Brahman. If you use the deity, to get over your sentimental concepts of life, and then when you come to the higher understanding, you don't need it anymore. You understand that? That's the way the Mayavadis worship deities. So when the Mayavadis, they worship Shiva, right? Shiva Linga. And they meditate, Soham. What does that mean? Yeah, so when they reach the realization of Soham, they don't do the deity worship anymore.
They do self-worship?
They believe they have become the deity. Soham. There are people, they meditate on Soham. That's their mantra. Art of living? No, really? Wow. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. You just have to get rid of the Ravi part, just Shankar, That's when he realizes Soham, he's no longer Ravi, he's Shankar.
So we have something called Sudarshana Kriya.
Yeah,
It's a 30 minutes beating exercise.
yeah.
So 30 minutes they'll repeat that Soham word.
Really? Wow. Do they know what it means?
Most of them don't know.
Yeah.
Who does that?
The followers of Ravi Shankar,
This,
the sitar player, yeah.
Art of
It's the same thing. Sitar player, you know, it's the same thing. I met the sitar player once. He's a complete nonsense guy. He was. I was in a shop in Paris, and he was doing a concert there. So he had a girlfriend, he had a French girlfriend. He was buying her some Indian clothes. You know, complete nonsense guy, but very smooth, very, you know, yeah. Okay, the abode of the Lord is beyond the material sky, and we have no means to measure even this material sky. If the material sky extends so far, then what to speak of the spiritual sky, which is altogether beyond it? That the spiritual sky is situated far, far away from the material universe is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15:6. I think that's Natat Bhasayate Suryo. Let's see that verse 15:6. Yeah, Natad Bhasayate Suryo Nasa Sankuna Pavakaha Yad Gatva Na Vimartante Tadama Paramam Mama. The supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So, and it says here, the spiritual world is situated far, far away from the material universe, is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15:6. But despite the Lord's being so far away, He can at once, within less than a second, descend before us with a speed swifter than that of the mind or wind. He can also run so swiftly that no one can surpass Him. This has already been described in a previous verse. He's fixed in one place, but yet He can run faster than anyone else. Yet, when the personality Godhead comes before us, we neglect Him. Such foolish negligence is condemned by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita 9:11. Avajananti mam mudha madasim tanamasritaha param bhavam ajananto mamabhuta maheshwara. Let's see. Where's that verse? 9:11. You have to be able to learn all these verses. And see, if you, and not that I expect you to learn them now, but as time goes on, you have to learn all these verses. This is the way you pass your Bhakti Vaibhava course. If you learn any one of these books perfectly, you can pass the Bhakti Vaibhava course. Because you would have to read, you have to read Srimad Bhagavatam, you have to read Nectar of Devotion and all this thing. But you learn just one of these books perfectly, you'll be able to pass the test because it's got everything in it. Or you'd be virtually able to pass the test. That's how powerful these purports are. You see, we keep stopping and we say this verse, this is that verse. So every statement Prabhupada is making here is backed up by a verse. This is called the tapestry of the commentary. The tapestry has vertical and horizontal threads, and they're tied tightly together, right? So if you just have vertical threads, what happens? They just fall. But you put vertical and horizontal threads together and you tighten them. That's the way they make rugs and things, tapestries, rugs. Then let's lift the bottom of this. Turn this corner over. Let's take a look. What's on the bottom? What's on the bottom?
We have red rows and green columns.
Yeah, you have vertical and horizontal threads. You see? That's a rug or a tapestry. So, therefore, every one of these sentences corresponds to a Vedic statement, a verse. And therefore, it's very tight. You can't refute the statements because they're restatements of bona fide Vedic verses and quotes. So he says here, 9:11, yeah. Avajananti mam mudha manasintana masrita param bhavam ajananto mama bhutamaheswaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. So that's why Prabhupada says, yet when the personality of Godhead comes before us, we neglect him. Like Sisupala, right? Like Ravana. The Lord is there, right? They neglect him. Because they are param bhavam ajananto. What does that mean? Param means transcendental, bhavam, nature. Ajananto, they don't understand his transcendental nature. What are we trying to do here? We're trying to understand Krishna's transcendental nature. That he does have mutually contradictory qualities. Because by virtue of his inconceivable potencies. So that's a transcendental nature. Transcendental nature is defined in Brahma Samhita. There's the material nature and there's the transcendental nature. Okay. The Sanskrit word for transcendental nature is chid dhamma. CID-DHAMA. I'm sorry, DHARMA. Chid dharma. And that's called transcendental nature. So I'll just read what it says here. Although he disappears after the pastimes of his appearance, we're talking about Krishna, still he is eternal. Though without origin, yet he is with an origin in his pastime of appearance, because he appears to be the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Right? And although eternal in essence, he is still a person in the full bloom of youth. Yeah, he never gets old. Although, by the time of the Battle of Kurukshetra, how old was he? 125 years old. But he still looked like a young 16-year-old kid. The sum and substance of it is that though he possesses diverse and apparently mutually contradictory qualities, still they are in universal harmonious concordance by dint of his unthinkable potency. So, what does dint mean? Huh?
The strength of his
Huh?
Very small.
dint, by the power of his.
All right, let's look it up on the internet. Dint. I would translate it by virtue of, by the fact of. I guess you could say by the power of. But, and then concordance. What does concordance mean?
Harmony.
Yes. Well, harmonious concordance, no. Concordance means they unite the two. The mutually contradictory things are united because he has unlimited potencies. What does dint mean? D-I-N-T. Huh?
The impression of following the surface.
The impression of?
Making an impression.
Yeah, so by virtue of, because of his inconceivable potency, he can harmonize these things. Yeah. Okay. His graceful threefold bending form with flute in hand possesses eternal blooming youth and is above all unwholesomeness that is to be found in limited time and space. You see, because he's in the fourth dimension, which is called what? Turiya. Right. Turiya means in the fourth dimension there's no limit to the length, width, height, and time and space. Whereas in the material world, all these things are limited. In the transcendental realm, there's no past and future, but only the unalloyed and immutable present time. What does immutable mean? Not changing, yeah. In the transcendental sphere, there's no distinction between the object and its qualities, and no such identity as is found in a limited mundane region. So, is the sky blue? Huh? Is it gray? So there's a difference between the sky and the quality of color, right? It can be blue, it can be gray, it can be red sometimes, right? So those are called secondary qualities. Primary qualities are like length, weight, and things like that. Secondary qualities are like color and taste. So color and taste are variable. In the same object, they can be variable. But length and weight and things like that, those are more stable. They are also somewhat variable, but more stable than the secondary quality. But in Krishna, all his qualities, whether it's secondary or primary, they're eternally, let's say, they're not subject to outside conditions. So sometimes Krishna appears white in this incarnation. Sometimes he appears red. Sometimes he appears dark bluish black. Sometimes he appears dark green. So those are not like secondary qualities in human beings. Those are called transcendental varieties of the Lord, because each one is eternal. Or at least some of them are eternal. Okay, so, and there's no distinction between the object and its qualities, and no such identity as is found in the limited mundane region. Hence, those qualities that seem to be apparently contradictory in the light of mundane conception, limited by time and space, exist in agreeable and dainty concordance, a very nice or sweet concordance in the spiritual realm. How can the jiva, meaning us, realize such unprecedented existence? The limited intellectual function of the jiva is always contaminated by the influence of time and space, and is therefore not in a position to shake off this limitedness. If the potency of cognitive function does not extend to the realization of the transcendental, what else can? In reply, Brahma says that the transcendental absolute is beyond the reach of the Vedas. So, simply reading the Vedas, you will not be able to understand Krishna. You'll be able to understand Brahman. You'll be able to understand conceivable oneness and conceivable duality. But you will not be able to understand inconceivable and simultaneous oneness and duality. There is something that's called conceivable oneness. And there's something called conceivable duality. But with our limited understanding, we cannot understand inconceivable and simultaneous oneness and duality.
What is this?
This is the Brahma Samhita. It's an advanced book.
What's the verse number?
It's chapter 5, verse number 33. Advaitam achutim anadim anantir rupam adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha vedesa durlabad adurlabhavas atma bhakto govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. This verse says that the Lord is Advaita. He is he's without a second. He's not, he's always himself. He's always one himself. He's non-dual, or basically say he's without a second. No one is equal to him. Let's put it like that. He's inaccessible to the Vedas. You cannot understand him simply by studying the Vedas. Now you would think, but he's the goal of the Vedas, right? Vedaischa sarvir aham eva vidya. 15 says that he's the goal of the Vedas. But here it's saying you cannot understand it. Why? Why can you not understand Krishna by simply reading the Vedas? You have 4 defects. And the third one is or fourth one, our senses are limited, right? And Krishna is unlimited. So with limited senses, how could you understand Krishna? But then what is the answer? How can you understand Krishna then?
Through the guidance of gurus, bona fide gurus.
Right. If you read see, this is what Hitler did. He read the Vedas without a guru. So he got it all wrong. But if you read the Vedas with the help of a bona fide Vaishnava guru, you'll be able to understand. Who? Now, how can you say he knew all the Vedas? No, he didn't know all of them, but he knew some of them. Just like in Hindi, they say, Neem Hakim Khatre Jan. He was a half doctor. He was not a whole doctor. Right? If you say he knew all the Vedas, yeah, he knew a lot. But what is the goal of the Vedas? It's to know Krishna. So he was not able to understand Krishna. Therefore, he did not know all the Vedas.
He saw Ram standing right in front of him, and yet he worshipped him. So, what's the good of that knowledge?
So you have to be careful when you speak. You have to speak correctly. He knew a lot of the Vedas, but he didn't understand the goal of the Vedas. Therefore, he was not able to recognize Ram. Or he didn't want to. He purposely was blind because of his false ego. All right, well, we'll go back to this. Okay, there are so many so-called scholars who contend that the Lord descends in a body made of matter just like an ordinary living being. Not knowing his inconceivable power, such foolish men place the Lord on an equal level with ordinary men. Well, this is the next verse. This is 7th chapter. Avyaktim vyaktim apanam manyate mam abudaya param bhavam ajananto mamavyayam anuttamam. 7th chapter, 24th verse. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. 7:24. And also 9:6. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi sam pakritim swam adistaya sambhavami atmamayaya. Krishna says, wait a minute, I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry, chapter 4, yeah, verse 6. And he says, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. So the Mayavadis think that the body, when the Krishna manifests when he comes into this world, is made out of matter. It's not spiritual. So therefore he says, non-believers argue either that the Lord cannot incarnate himself at all, or that if he does, he descends in a form of material energy. These arguments are nullified if we accept the existence of the Lord's inconceivable potencies. Then we will understand that even if the Lord appears before us in the form of material energy, it is quite possible for him to convert this energy into spiritual energy. So that's the deity. That's prasadam. It's material energy that's converted into spiritual energy because of the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Since the source of the energies is one and the same, the energies can be utilized according to the will of their source. So Krishna can use the energies any way he wants. He can convert material into spiritual, or spiritual and material at his will. We can't do that. He can do it. For example, the Lord can appear in the form of the Archa Vigraha, meaning a deity, supposedly made of earth, stone, or wood. Deity forms, although engraved from wood, stone, or other matter, are not idols, as the iconoclasts contend. What is an iconoclast? Iconoclast. It's someone who breaks deities, like the Muslims, they break deities, and the atheists, they break the deities. So, they think that the deity is just an idol. So, in Hindus, it's surprising. They say, they come to the temple and say, "Where are the idols? Which room are the idols in?" You know, and I correct them. I say, they're not idols. You know, you want to see an idol? Go to the Bellevue Library. You'll see the idol of Gandhi. That's an idol. But you want to see, but these are deities. They don't understand the difference between a deity and an idol.
Because they're interchangeably used from always.
What's that?
They are interchangeably used.
I know, but that's
Poor English, Prabhu.
well, it can be poor Hindi also, you know, or poor Telugu. I mean, they have a misconception of the deity because they've been trained by the Mayavadis. The Mayavadis think these are all idols.
But they have pran pratishtha, right? So they cannot be idols, they are the actual deities.
They still think, Mayavadis do the pran pratishtha and they still call them idols. Yeah. Okay. So the iconoclast, I-C-O-N-O-C-L-A-S-T, means someone who breaks deities, destroys the concept of the sanctity of the deity. In our present state of imperfect material existence, we cannot see the Supreme Lord due to imperfect vision. Yet, those devotees who want to see Him by means of material vision are favored by the Lord, who appears in a so-called material form to accept His devotees' service. So to help us, Krishna will appear in wood or ivory or marble or paint, and He will accept our service in that way. One should not think that such devotees who are in the lowest stage of devotional service are worshiping an idol. They are factually worshiping the Lord, who has agreed to appear before them in an approachable way. So how is this possible? Because Krishna has inconceivable potencies, He can transform something material into something spiritual. And it goes both ways. He can make something spiritual into something material if He wants to. You and I can't do that. He can do that. See, what the materialists want to do is bring God down to our level. So we can't do it, therefore He can't do it. But what the Shastra tries to do is bring our consciousness up to His level. Yes, we can't do it, but He can do it. That's the difference between us and God. Yeah. They are factually worshipping the Lord, who has agreed to appear before them in an approachable way. Nor is the archa, or deity form, fashioned according to the whims of the worshipper. This form is eternally existent with all paraphernalia. This can be actually felt by a sincere devotee, but not by an atheist. So, how do they make the deity of Krishna? Is it an artist's imagination? No, they take the description. There are many descriptions in the Srimad Bhagavatam of the form of Lord Krishna, the form of Lord Vishnu or Narayana. And therefore the deities are made according to those descriptions.
Prabhu, and even in the Rajashakti Shastra,
The what?
the Rajashakti, or the way you sculpt the deities,
Yeah.
the stone or whatever not have even a single defect. Right? So they soak it in water, they do a whole lot of tests to make sure that it is okay. They fast while they do it. And so it is done with a whole lot of austerity. So not like how Michelangelo or someone did it. It's done with a whole lot of austerity. And they even draw it on the wood or stuff. I actually read a documentary about it. And it's just so beautiful.
Haribol. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.11, the Lord says that how He treats His devotee depends on the devotee's degree of surrender. Ye yatamam papadyante tamstataiva pajamyaham mamavart manavartante manusyaparta sarvasaha. As my devotee surrenders unto me, proportionately I reveal myself to the devotee. Right? 4.11. Let's take a look at that. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. Right? The Lord reserves the right not to reveal himself to anyone and everyone, but to show himself only to those souls who surrender unto him. Thus, for the surrendered soul, he is always within reach, whereas for the unsurrendered soul, he is far, far away and cannot be approached. So, this is very important. This is also a paraphrase of a verse. Atapi te deva padam bujadvaya. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. This 7th chapter, verse 24, right near the end of the purport. Atapi is from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-29. Atapi te deva padam bujadvaya. So here he says, the Lord reserves the right not to reveal himself to anyone and everyone, but to show himself only to those souls who surrender unto him. Thus, for the surrendered soul, he is always within reach, whereas for the unsurrendered soul, he is far, far away and cannot be approached. In this connection, two words, the revealed scriptures often apply to the Lord. Saguna, with qualities, and nirguna, without qualities, are very important. Okay, now you have to learn these words, saguna and nirguna.
The qualities that are mentioned here, these are both material and spiritual qualities? Or because the Lord, if he is nirguna, it's because he is devoid of material qualities, right?
Yes.
And so saguna is both material and spiritual?
Well, he can transform the material into spiritual, so that it's usually understood as spiritual qualities. But it includes material qualities, because both are spiritual from the eyes of the Lord. From our eyes, they're not. But from the Lord's eyes, they're both spiritual. They're para and apara, right? And without nirguna, when you apply it to the Lord, means that none of his qualities are material. That's what it actually means. It doesn't mean he has no qualities. The Mayavadis interpret the word nirguna as meaning he has no qualities. But the actual meaning of nirguna, when it's applied to the Lord, means that he has no material qualities. That even in the deity form, all those qualities you see are spiritual. Whereas the Mayavadi would say, nirguna form means no form, no qualities. You see, so they use the same words, but they have different interpretations. But from the Lord's point of view, material or spiritual are all spiritual, because his material energy is also eternal. It's not temporary. But we, in our limited way of seeing things, think it's temporary. The word saguna does not imply that when the Lord appears with perceivable qualities, he must take on a material form and be subject to the laws of material nature. For him, there's no difference between the material and spiritual energies, right? Because he is the source of all energies. This is a very important point. See, by reading Mayavad philosophy, you would think that saguna only refers to spiritual energies. Therefore, you could not consider the deity form as saguna, because it's made out of matter. But see, that's the Mayavadi interpretation. It's very easy to be tricked by the Mayavadis. Because if you use if you don't accept the Lord's inconceivable potencies, you would say, well, it can only refer to his spiritual qualities, not to his material qualities. But for the Lord, there's no difference between material and spiritual. They're both his spiritual energies. The material energy is also spiritual because it's eternal. Yeah. He is the source of all energies. As the controller of all energies, he cannot at any time be under their influence as we are. The material energy works according to his direction. Therefore, he can use the energy for his purposes without ever being influenced by any of the qualities of that energy. In this sense, he is nirguna, without qualities. In other words, see, the way the Vaishnavas say nirguna, it means that his qualities, whether in the deity form in the material world or in his original form, they're all spiritual. So nirguna means there's no tinge of material influence, neither on the deity or deity form, which is the Archa Vigraha, or on his in his form in Vaikuntha or the spiritual world, or when he comes in this world. This is something the Mayavadis cannot understand. They make the distinction. Even though they talk about Advaita, actually they are not Advaitas, not Advaitans. Because they don't accept that the Lord is Advaitam, Achutim, Anadim, Anantarupam, Adyam Purana Purusham, Navayovanam cha. Vedesu Durlabam, Adurlabam Atma Bhakto, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So that's Brahma Samhita, verse number 33. 30, yeah. So it says that the Lord is without a second. He's not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha. Yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. So that means Advaita, whether he's in an Archa Vigraha form as a deity made of wood or marble, or whether he appears as Lord Vamanadev, or Matsya, or Kurma. These are all transcendental forms. They're not material forms. So those forms are considered nirguna. They don't have any material qualities. They're all spiritual qualities. Whereas the Mayavadis say nirguna means there's no qualities at all.
Nirguna means shapeless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even in the avatars, we have multiple categories of avatars.
You do. You have some that are eternal, some that are not.
And so
some that are existing in the spiritual world, and some that only exist in the material world.
in the material world. So, for example, Vedavyas is only a Shakti Avish avatar. He's not a Leela avatar, right? So he's a wonderful person who has
He's a jiva like us, but he's attained.
some Shakti or
Yes.
to do some miraculous works. And so, does he have gunas? I mean, that category of avatars, do they have gunas or no? Or are they different?
Well, he could not be an acharya in the disciplic succession if he's affected by the modes of material nature, like us.
Good one.
And it says, nor does the Lord become formless, a formless entity at any time. For ultimately, he is the eternal form, the primeval Lord. His impersonal aspect, or Brahman effulgence, is but the glow of his personal rays, such as the sun's rays are the glow of the sun god. When the child Saint Prahlad Maharaj was in the presence of his atheist father, his father asked him, "Where is your God?" When Prahlad replied that God resides everywhere, the father angrily asked whether his God was within one of the pillars of his palace. And the child said yes. At once the atheist king shattered the pillar in front of him to pieces, and the Lord instantly appeared as Nrsimha, the half-man, half-lion incarnation, and killed the atheist king. Thus the Lord is within everything, and he creates everything by his different energies. Through his inconceivable powers, he can appear at any place in order to favor his sincere devotee. Lord Nrsimha appeared from within the pillar, not by the order of the atheist king, but by the wish of his devotee Prahlada. An atheist cannot order the Lord to appear, but the Lord will appear anywhere and everywhere to show mercy to his devotee. The Bhagavad Gita 4.8 similarly states that the Lord appears in order to vanquish non-believers and protect believers. Of course, the Lord has sufficient energies and agents who can vanquish atheists, but it pleases him to personally favor a devotee. Therefore, he descends as an incarnation. Actually, he descends only to favor his devotees and not for any other purpose. In the Brahma Samhita 5.35, it is said that Govinda, the primeval Lord, enters everything by his plenary portion. He enters the universe as well as all the atoms of the universe. He is outside in his Virat form, and he is within everything as Antaryami. As Antaryami, he witnesses everything. Antaryami means the Paramatma. As Antaryami, he witnesses everything that is going on, and he awards us the results of our actions as karma phal. We ourselves may forget what we have done in previous lives, but because the Lord witnesses our actions, the results of our actions are always there, and we have to undergo the reactions nonetheless. In other words, we might forget what karma we performed in a previous life, but the Lord doesn't forget. Therefore, he gives us our karma fall in this life, even though we can't, no way of understanding what we did in a previous life. We only understand when we get the karmic reactions that we must have done something wrong in previous life. The fact is that there's nothing but God within and without. Everything is a manifestation of his different energies, like the heat and light emanating from a fire. And in this way, there is oneness among his diverse energies. Now, this is the real idea of Advaita. Oneness amongst his diverse energies. Achintya Veda Aveda Tattva. Although there is oneness, however, the Lord in his personal form still enjoys unlimitedly all the pleasures enjoyed minutely by the tiny part and parcel living entities. Yeah, he enjoys love, he enjoys relationships, friendship, servitorship, all these things. It looks mundane, but it's not. So here at Brahma Samhita 5.35, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Patibhavitabis Tabirya Eva Nijarupa Taya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Wait a minute, let's see, 535. Okay, I'm sorry. Ekopya so rachaitum jagadanda kotim yas chaktirasti jagadanda chaya yadanta adantaras staparamanu chayantarastam govindamadi purisham tamaham bhajami. 535, Chichiratha Nilamadava Ki Jai. He is an undifferentiated entity as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof, or energy and the energetic. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. So you see how the Brahma Samhita, Prabhupada is referring to it many times here in the purports, and he's explaining very esoteric principles. This is advanced, highly advanced knowledge. Why did he choose to translate and give commentary on the Isopanisad? Why didn't he choose another Upanishad? Because this is the supreme Upanishad of all 108 Upanishads. It completely defeats the Mayavad concept and situates one as a genuine devotee of Lord Krishna and gives you a completely correct idea of who Krishna is. Okay, so we covered a lot of things. And if you have any questions, you can ask, otherwise we'll stop. Yes?
In the purport, in the last statement, you said that Prabhupada says that Lord enjoys unlimitedly all the pleasures enjoyed by the tiny parts and parcel of the
It's referring to the rasas. Neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parental, and conjugal.
All things enjoyed by living entities in the spiritual world, not in the material.
For him, there's no material and spiritual, it's all spiritual. Even in the material world, all his activities are spiritual. They look material. That's the way the karmis see it, but and the Mayavadis, but they're not material. Okay? Whatever we're doing is a perverted reflection of what he's doing. Perverted. Why is it perverted? Because it's like your reflection in a mirror. Let's say your wife thought that your mirror reflection is you. And she goes to hit you. Say, I don't like you anymore. It goes like, bang, and she hits her hand on the mirror, you know, and injures her hand. Then she realizes it's not really you. That reflection is not you. And then perverted means that it's not. Sometimes, you know, your reflection, it depends how it's in a mirror. It can be, you know, if you ever go to the fun house in the circus, right? They have the hall of mirrors. You go in, and you know, let's say you're 110 pounds, but it looks like you're 300 pounds, right? The mirror, you know, expands you. So that's why it's a perverted reflection. It's not really you at all. There's some faint resemblance with you, and it's not you because it's just a reflection. You can't really interact with it like they can with you. So what you're seeing in this world is a perverted reflection. But when Krishna comes in this world, he's the same Krishna. There's no difference.
So whatever we see in the material world
is a perverted reflection. Yeah, so, you know,
any relationship or any material,
even as relationships, it's just perverted reflection. It's not the real thing.
But the relationship,
It implies the real thing. There is a real thing because there wouldn't be a reflection of it. But what you're seeing here and how you're relating to it is in a false way. Just like your body. Your body is not you, but you accept it as being real, as being you.
but isn't the relationship between the Guru and the Shishya true and Prabhu? Because that is spiritual.
Well, how can it be true? It can be true only if both the Guru and the Shishya are following Krishna's instructions. You can have a Guru who's not a real Guru. You can have a Shishya who's not a real Shishya.
Yeah, I'm just talking about bona fide.
That's why there's parampara.
So if you have a Guru and a good Shishya, then that particular relationship is true, isn't it?
Yeah, so one time Prabhupada talked about the daydream and the night dream. So the devotees said, well, Prabhupada, is what's going on right now, are walking with you, is this just a dream? You know, that was a good question, right? Because he said, everyone is experiencing a daydream and a night dream, right? During the day, you think the dream you had at night was a dream. During the night, when you're dreaming, you think the dream you had during the day is what happened in the day is a dream, right? So then they said, well, is this just a dream, Prabhupada? And he said, you can make it real by becoming serious about spiritual life. Or it can be a dream if you're not serious. A dream is something that implies there's something real, but in and of itself it's not real. So the spiritual master can tell you what to do, but unless you do it, it doesn't mean anything. So he can only tell you what you should do, but he can't force you to do it. It's up to you to take the responsibility, up to us to take the responsibility to follow his instructions. And if we do follow, and he's bona fide, then what we're doing is bona fide. But if we don't follow correctly, then what we're doing is our own concoction. So, Haribol.